Hey guys, welcome to Golf Ball Addict. As always, I appreciate you being here. Today we're going to talk about something that I haven't talked about on the channel before, and that is the wonderful world of golf gloves. All right, so the first thing I notice about this is one, I have too many golf gloves. You don't realize how many you have until they start accumulating, but I am glad I have this here for a variety. So one of the questions I get asked quite a bit is, when newcomers are coming into the game of golf, the golf glove can honestly be really overwhelming because frankly, there's so many of them. In the wonderful world of the direct-to-consumer market, more companies are coming out with gloves because frankly, it's a really cheap and easy accessory to add to any lineup. And almost any company's kind of dipping their hand in this. TravisMathew makes a line. Bender Gloves has their own line. There's actually specific companies that are just making gloves. And then, of course, any type of golf maker, such as that makes clubs or golf balls, drivers, anything, also has their hand in that game. And then you can pretty much buy any there. So, I mean, you're looking at honestly over probably 50, 60 brands right now to choose from. And if you're someone who's just now coming into the game, it can be very overwhelming. And even if you're someone who has been playing golf for a very long time and frankly you've been using maybe the same glove, it kind of gets weird to see some of the new designs and wonder, well, maybe I should switch, maybe I shouldn't. I'm kind of content. It may seem silly just because it's a golf glove, but frankly, golf glove is kind of like the ball. It's one of those things that you use on most of your shots. And honestly, it can add a lot of grip. It can help your game. Plus, it's kind of one of those confidence things. There's a lot of things in golf that are about confidence. And if you have something that, when you look at it makes you smile or you enjoy it more, it can help you play better. That's been scientifically proven. So I kind of want to dive in and do just a golf glove 101. I want to start with some of the reasons, some of the materials they're made out of, and some of the reasons that some are $10 and some are $35 and maybe even some are $50, and just kind of go over what makes a golf glove good, what makes it bad, and what makes it maybe something you would consider. So let's talk about your cheaper golf gloves first. A lot of people just use a synthetic material that's going to be, something like this right here. Any one of these. Got to try all these out. So essentially, let's talk about, what makes these so cheap. So like I said, they are made of a synthetic material. And essentially, when you feel that, you're going to feel that it feels a little cheaper. So synthetic materials do not stretch as much. They're going to, keep the form of your glove, whereas a leather is going to stretch. And they're actually going to be more durable as far as rips and tears. However, I would argue that they get dirty a lot faster. So you'll notice these right here, especially this Bridgestone one. I'll show this one. This is after maybe a month or two of being used. It's not very long. And if you look on there, you can honestly see that it is just filthy. Now, there are a number of factors that are going to make a golf glove dirty. You want to make sure you're taking it off in between shots and you're not wearing it, because I can tell you right now, one of the dirtiest places on a golf cart is going to be the steering wheel. And if you take a nice white clean glove and grip that steering wheel, you'll notice pretty quickly that it's going to have some black all over it. So with that being said, I think it does, withstand tears better, but I think it gets dirty a lot easier. Leather usually has a little bit more resistance to staining. Synthetic materials are, most of the time, breathe a little easier than leather, so they're going to have a lot of ventilation in them, and it's going to not be as sweaty. However, I don't think that's much of a factor. I frankly live in Florida, and right now it's hot. It's 105, 110 degrees with the humidity. As long as you're taking your golf glove off in between shots, it really shouldn't be an issue, and you should be doing that anyway. The last thing you want with either of these materials is for them to get wet. You don't want them to get wet. Even with it being synthetic, it can handle rain a little bit better, but honestly, the synthetic material still kind of folds under rain. So with that being said, basically your cheaper materials are going to be synthetic. And who am I going to say they're for? I'm going to say, they're for a guy that doesn't golf all that often, and you don't need to invest in a bunch of, high-tech gloves or anything like that. You don't need any gimmicks. You're going out once a month, you're going out once every 2 or 3 months, you golf a few times a year. Honestly, the synthetic material will work for you just because I think it'll resist the tears and cuts. You should be able to use it for a while and get the most out of it. All right, so the next one here I have actually, this is a Maxfli hybrid glove. It has been used pretty well, but you'll notice that it's not quite as dark. I've actually used this glove more than I have that Bridgestone, but the reason it's not as dirty is because this is called kind of a hybrid mix. So parts of the glove are made with a synthetic leather, and then parts of it are made with a more Cabretta, nicer leather. Now, Cabretta leather, essentially, you'll see that almost on any golf glove. Essentially, that's just a type of leather made from sheep, the hide of sheep. It's very soft, and it just has a really nice feel to it, and honestly it grips really well. So on this glove in particular, that's what they used for this entire front side, and then on the back it's a lot of synthetic materials to try to create a little bit more ventilation, which again is good in some parts, but honestly again, if you're taking it off in between shots like you should, it ends up not being a big deal to me. You'll find a lot of gloves like this that essentially what they're trying to do is they're trying to cut down the cost. So you'll find the price range in the $15 to $20 range to try to lower the price a little bit. They're not having to use the whole glove as Cabretta leather. So this honestly is, if you're someone who wants a little bit nicer of a glove that has a soft feel to it, but you don't want to spend 30 bucks on a golf glove because maybe you go through them quick, or maybe frankly you're like me and you're a little cheap and you just don't want to pay that. Hybrid glove really could be with you. Maxfli makes a lot of the really good quality, I would say, hybrid gloves that I've seen. I've owned quite a few different of their models and I've been really impressed, but I know there's a lot of companies out there that make them too. And then my personal favorite out of all of them is going to be, of course, a fully Cabretta leather glove. Here I actually have the Travis Matthew one, and as you can see, it's pretty premium. First of all, you'll notice it is black, so it doesn't show stains as much, which is probably why I got this specific color, but it still has a decent amount of ventilation. It even has some lettering on the front. Looks really premium, feels really premium. This golf glove was $35, so this is when the price range is going to go up a little bit, and it's going to be made of a nicer material. The main thing with leather is, again, first of all, the feel is extremely soft. When you put it on, it is very, very soft. It'll kind of mold to your fingers, because what happens is you'll want to get a fully Cabretta leather glove a little tight, that way it stretches out and kind of forms to your hand, kind of like how a shoe does. If you've ever bought a premium leather shoe, it's kind of the same thing. You want them a little tight, that way they stretch to your foot. Same thing with the golf glove here. You're going to want a little tight, that way it can conform to your fingers nice. This one, that's what I did with this. It feels really good. It just seems to glide on there. The grip is phenomenal. I mean, you can really tell just by looking and feeling at a fully leather glove how much premium it is. A lot of people are going to argue about the durability, but here's where that comes into play with a fully leather glove. You're going to have to take care of it, and that's what turns a lot of people off. For me, it isn't. I used to sell suits, so I know all about taking care of the shoes. I used to put shoe trees in them, and essentially that's kind of what this is. It's the hand version of that. So I got me one of these. I highly recommend one of these. They're only about $5 to $10, but they have gotten me at least 2 to 3 months out of every golf glove I've used, because essentially what you're doing is leather doesn't hold water, retain it well. You don't want to take this glove and crumple it up and throw it in your bag. That's going to unfortunately diminish it. You're going to lose months and months and months off of the lifespan of your glove if you do that. So you don't want to anything like this. And frankly, even your synthetics and your hybrids, you should probably be doing this with, but you can get away with those a little more because they have the synthetic material in them. But any full leather, you want to keep the shape of it. So that's kind of what this is designed to do. You essentially just put it right around the fingers. So essentially, yeah, that's what it's going to end up looking like. It's going to, retain that shape. It's going to still keep the leather in fantastic condition, and it's just going to keep it overall looking premium, and it's going to make it last a lot longer. Now, earlier I mentioned that the synthetic gloves may resist tearing a little bit, and the leather gloves resist staining a little bit. I can't really show you here again because it's black. And also you can use leather cleaner. You can spritz some on there and kind of give it a little wipe, little spray, and it should clean it right up. Honestly, the nicer golf glove you have, really the more you want to take care of it. So what that means is that depending on your budget and what you want to do, the higher money you spend, the more baggage it's going to come with as far as taking care of it. And that's where a lot of people get turned off, and they just buy the cheapies because, hey, I can use it for a month or two and just throw it away and who cares? And that's perfectly acceptable. And last but not least, you have some of what I like to call specialty gloves. This particular one is a winter glove. I know it seems weird that I would have a winter glove in Florida, but it does occasionally get down to like 35, 40, 45 degrees. And frankly, my hands don't have great circulation. And when you're golfing, the last thing you want is no circulation in your hands. Makes it really hard to get a good feel on the golf club. So I have actually a pair of these. They come in a pair, so you have both. I definitely recommend if you're going to do a weather type glove, you want two. Just, that way you don't want one hand really really cold and one hand really hot, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. It would throw me off anyway. But they also make them in a rain one, you know, for rain protection. If you're someone who plays in the rain and doesn't mind it, as long as it's not thundering, you can get rain ones that have a lot more grip and water resistance. These are just really thermal and insulated, and I mean, they're super warm. I've actually just worn these as regular golf glove, or regular gloves, excuse me, and just when it's cold, and it's been really nice. They also, the left glove, this is the right one, but the left one even has a little T holder in it, so you don't have to, you know, be reaching in your pockets. Really nice there. Again, specialty gloves, specialty situation. You're only going to really use them in inclement weather. All right, so just a quick recap there. Synthetic gloves, flex a little bit more, have a little bit more durability against rips and tears. They're true to size as far as how they fit, but unfortunately, they do feel cheap. They don't last as long, and frankly, they just don't feel that great. And honestly, they feel cheap, and I think overall, as far as how much they stain, not going to get a lot of use out of them. Your hybrid glove, of course, is a mixture between the two. Most of the time on the bottom, it feels nice and soft where you grip the club, so it has an excellent grip. And then on top, it's made of a synthetic material where, again, a little bit more flexibility, lower the cost. And for the fully Cabretta leather, extremely soft, exceptional grip, but it requires a little bit more maintenance. It doesn't stain as well also, but you're gonna have to take care of it. You're gonna have to make sure you don't just crumple it up and throw it in your bag. If it gets a little wet, you're gonna have to make sure it dries out with its shape. It takes a little bit more care of, but it will reward you in the long run. And here are a couple tips as well when you're searching for a golf glove. One, don't be afraid to try them on. I know some people are really wishy-washy about this, but the thing is you cannot trust the sizes anymore. Just because you are a cadet large in one glove does not mean you are the same. I'm a medium and a Travis Matthew. I'm an XL and a Maxfly. I'm a large and everything else. It's really confusing, and don't be afraid to open the package. Now be respectful about it. That's the thing. Let's be adults about it. Take the glove out. Go ahead and try it on, put it back in the way you found it, and be done. And don't be afraid to do that, because essentially you do want to see how it feels. You want to put it on your hand, make sure it fits good, and make sure that it is going to work for you. Don't be afraid to do that, and go into a place like Dick's Sporting Goods or you know, your local Walmart even, and doing that is going to help you find what material you like, and maybe even a brand that feels particularly good on your hand. Also, my second one is do not be afraid to buy online. Now, once you go to a store and you feel all these golf gloves and you have an idea of what you want, don't be afraid to go online and kind of do a little Googling and research, because a lot of these companies now are coming out with some really interesting, cool designs. From Golf Gods, they have a couple of them that are really raunchy and inappropriate, but they're still funny and cool to look at. There's another company that specifically has, you know, all ones that look like palm trees. There's one company that on the palm of all of them, they have completely different designs ranging from money, dollar signs, flamingos, all kinds of different stuff. So don't be afraid. If you're someone who's wild and you like design and you want it to be a little bit unique to your situation, don't be afraid to do that. Bender gloves, I know, is another good one. On Golf Dots' website they sell. They have like really crazy ones that look like, you know, carnival style. I mean, there's a variety of them. You can get one that's American, red, white, and blue. So don't be afraid to do your research and go on there as well. And you know, honestly, a lot of guys are a little afraid or a little ishy about buying online, but honestly, there are companies that you can do it from, and they have size guides that you can measure. And worst case scenario, most of these companies are going to let you return it if it doesn't fit. That's how it was with this glove. I know it said specifically that, hey, if you know, it doesn't fit or whatever, they'll take care of them. Most of them have good customer service. And my last tip is don't be afraid to buy in bulk. So a lot of gloves have a bulk deal. I know when you go to Dick's, a lot of the time their gloves are 2 for $25, 2 for $30, 2 for $35, depending on the tier you're in. And then I know Vice is the same way also. Vice has always been kind of a buy in bulk deal. Same thing as with their golf gloves. If you buy them in bulk, you get them for a significantly lesser price. And even if you go to Costco, you know, if you're a Costco guy, the Kirkland brand, they have a pack of 3, I think for $15, which is honestly one of the best deals you can get. Don't be afraid to buy them in bulk. There's nothing wrong with that, and just keeping a couple of them to the side. Trust me, eventually you will need them one way or another. The need will arise. So last but not least, a lot of people ask me, well, is there a specific brand that's better? You know, what's the best golf glove brand? It's something that I've searched for online. I've done, you know, many Google searches of, you know, what's the top rated glove. And as you can see, I've actually tried quite a few of them. And ultimately, here's what it's going to come down to is, one, the brand is not going to matter nearly. Actually, I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't matter at all. It's Bubkiss. I've tried a lot of different brands of golf glove. I have a Bridgestone, I have a TaylorMade, I have a Maxfly, I have a Travis Matthew. I've tried a Ping recently. I've felt and used a lot of golf gloves, and honestly, the brand really makes no difference one way or the other. It is the material you're looking for. So the first thing you have to kind of figure out is, what material am I looking for? Do I want that softness? If you're someone going out golfing all the time, you probably want a premium glove that's going to give you, the best result. If you're just doing it occasionally, you probably want, something a little cheaper, or if your pocketbook's hurting and you're just kind of in a hurry, buying the cheap one's okay too. So once you figure out what material you like and which one you prefer, then that's the most important. After that, honestly, when it comes to brand, I went with what looked cool. Like if you guys have watched my channel, you've seen that I have the Cobra F9 driver. It is black and yellow, so when I saw this glove with the black and yellow, it matched. I bought it. I have no regrets about it. My buddy Alex, he did the nighttime video with the glow-in-the-dark balls, he recently upgraded to all Pings. He has a Ping bag and all Ping irons and drivers, and so he went and specifically found a Ping golf glove, and honestly, it's a really nice golf glove. So what I would say is, go with what looks cool, or go with what's already in your bag. Go with something that when you look at it, it is going to make you smile, or you're going to like the look and feel of it, just because it might help your game. But as far as brand to brand, I just haven't seen much of a difference, just to be honest with you guys. Guys, let me know in the comments what golf glove you use. If you have anything as far as experiences you've had, better ways to take care of them, I'm all for it. I want to hear it. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. As always, keep watching and keep saving and keep learning. Thanks, guys.